What's up everybody? Today we're going to be tying the baby crappie jig. This is a jig pattern I designed to look just like a baby crappie. For the head on this, we're going to be using a 1/16 ounce freestyle jig head. I powder painted this with ProTec white, and then I lightly sprinkled some black over it to give it a little speckled look. By the way, this head has a size 4 hook, and I put a yellow 5mm 3D eye on there. For the thread, I'm going to be using a 6/0 uni thread in white color. We're just going to start the thread behind the head and take it down to the point of the hook. For the tail, we're going to be using MFC marabou. This is mini barred marabou, white with gray barring. This one's pretty expensive for what you get, but it is by far the best looking in my opinion. So we're just going to take one of those feathers and I'm going to pinch it between my fingers at the stem and run my fingers up the feather toward the tips just to straighten out all the fibers, and then we're going to measure it so it's about the length of the hook. Once we got the right length, we're going to pinch it in on the hook and just tie it down with some tight thread wraps. Give it 4 or 5 tight wraps before letting go of the feather, and then you can tie the butt end the rest of the way up to the head. Just make sure you keep everything nice and tight. Once you get it up to the head, you can clip that off as close as you can to the body. And then we're going to go over all the fluffy parts with the thread. Just tame that down a bit. Then bring the thread back down to the tail just to tighten everything back up. And back up to the head once again. For the body, we're going to be using UV modeled Galaxy mop chenille in white color, and then we're going to twist that together with some white crystal chenille. So I'm going to take a piece of each of those about 4 inches long. I'm going to strip some of these fibers off of the crystal chenille just so that we tie in the stem. We're going to tie it in at the head, down to the tail. You can see that with the mop chenille, you can't really take the fibers out, so we're just going to have to cut them. Just cut them down to a taper like that. Then we're going to tie that mop chenille in, just that little piece that we cut down to a taper. Just tie that part in, and then bring the thread back up to the head. And now we're going to take our chenille, separate the tail fibers from those, and then we're going to twist them together. I like to twist them counterclockwise. In the camera it looks like I'm doing it clockwise, but it's actually the opposite. So just give those some really tight turns. Make sure it's twisted together to look like a new chenille. You don't want to be able to tell the difference between the two pieces. You can see we have a nice new chenille there. So we're just going to start wrapping that. We want to get our first wrap right against the tail. Make sure it's nice and straight. Take your time to do that. And then we can just continue the wrapping. Make sure each wrap is pressed right up against the last, and that'll give us a perfect looking body. Once we get that up to the head, we can tie it down with a few tight wraps of thread. Get one wrap in front of the chenille, and then clip those off as close as you can. Now we're going to whip finish. Just give it about a 6 turn whip finish. Pull the thread tight and clip it off. And that is it. You can see that that is a nice looking baby crappie jig. It has the coloration of a crappie and it has a nice fat profile. Let me get it wet to show you what it looks like. So there we have it. That chenille really traps the water well and darkens it up a little bit to look just like a baby fish. This one is definitely a killer, and I suggest trying it out for yourself. You should catch tons of fish. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to hit that bell to be notified of all future uploads.